Hello and welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute-a-day podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse, recorded here in the dining room of the Bible Bistro, located in Sharonville, Ohio. Hey there friends, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Today in the Bible Bistro we're studying Psalm 64 all this week. Psalm 64 is 10 verses long, so we'll take about 2 verses every day and just march our way right through it. This has a little introduction. It's not quite as involved and, doesn't give us quite as much background as the other ones that we've had recently. But this one says, to the choir master, a psalm of David. So there you go. You've got all your component parts right there. The choir master is mentioned, and this is a psalm of David. So we come here to 64, and what we have really is a prayer and more description about the wicked man, and then a conclusion. This has a chiastic structure, this particular psalm. It's hard to explain chiasm over audio. I really need to show it to you because different parts parallel one another. So like verse 2 and verse 9 parallel each other. Verse 3 and verse 8 parallel one another. 4 and 7. So you have these it's almost like a mirror image. And then 5 and 6 cuts the psalm right in half. So we'll look at all that as we go through here this week. If you'll allow me, let me read to you. Hear my voice, O God, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. All right, we have here David's prayer, and you'll notice he gives us 3 different requests, just boom, 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 right one after the other. The first one is hear my voice. So this is something that we've heard him say over and over again in the Psalms. I mean, we're in Psalm 64, so we've had quite a bit of experience up to this point with David's praying. And very often he will begin a prayer or end a prayer like this, hear my voice, O God. David is asking for the Lord to hear, but of course we know, and I'm sure David knows when he writes this, that God does hear his voice. But you don't want to presume anything, right? So he says, hear my voice, O God. That's his request. And then second request, number 2 in the boom, boom, boom list is preserve. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Sometimes, fear is a worse thing for us than the actuality, because fear can create a monster that is much bigger than the problem really is. You generate fear and you gin it up, because if you're afraid of something, the more you meditate on that thing, and the bigger it becomes, the harder it is for us to ignore it. And the bigger it becomes, the more we focus on it and meditate on it rather than meditating and focusing on the Lord, who's much bigger than any problem that we ever face. So when he says, preserve me from my fear, boy, that's a really insightful prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Not from the enemy, but from fear of the enemy. That fear that creates the monster which grows and grows and grows really has an effect on life itself. And of course, I think we all know that. We've all experienced that. And then in verse 2, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. So he says, hear my voice. That's request 1. 2, preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Request 2. 3, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. And now here we have one of those parallelisms that we love so much in these couplets in the Psalms. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, that's part A. And then part B in the couplet, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. So somebody's rising up against David, and he's asking the Lord to hide him. Hide him from their secret counsel, from the insurrection. So they're going to rise up, and they're going to, what would workers of iniquity do? Well, we know what they would do. They would do wickedly, which is exactly what they're going to do. And you're going to see what the insurrection looks like beginning there in verse 3 and going all the way down, say through verse 6. So we'll begin there tomorrow in verse 3. So I hope you'll join me then here on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. For more fresh and delicious Bible studies, podcasts, books, and more, Check out the Bible Bistro online and on YouTube. Join me again next time for Daily Dose Radio.